So, 6 years ago, I made a track and I finally just got around to releasing it. It comes out in February 2026 as we speak. So, it's out in about 4 weeks. And basically, what I want to try and get you to think about is if you've got music that's been sat on your computer or wherever, on disk or whatever, that you made years ago, but you think it's too late to release, then I'm going to tell you that you're wrong and that you need to release it regardless of how long ago it was you made it. So, as I say, I recorded this in 2019 and it's took me 6 years to finally get it out and put it together and finish it. It was already finished, it was just not mixed how I wanted it to be and all that kind of thing. The usual sort of dilemmas we face as musicians and producers. So anyway, I finally got it to release standard and I've put it out. Now, there's other tracks that I've done over the years that took a long time to release, like my last single as Rob Jam Webb, which was called Party People, came out in September or October. That was made originally in 2012. It took over a decade to release because I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And I finally got it out there and it's done all right. You know, it's sold a few copies and it's streamed a fair few bits. So it's worth putting it out. And the reason I say this is because now in 2026 as we stand, every genre has been done. Everything has been remade. Everything's been made. Everything's been done, hasn't it? All we get now are mashups of genres. You know, we've had tech house, tech trance, you know, and chill hop and trap wave and all these kind of names that are just two genres blended together. Now, who knows what's going to come next? You know, what we're going to have next, disco trance. You just don't know, do you? But what I'm saying is, on the surface, on the whole, all genres have been done. So this track I made here was inspired by a record that came out in 1990 by a guy called Neal Howard. And the record was called Indulge, and it's a classic Bleep Techno record, one of the best of the best. And I was hugely inspired by that, so I've released this song and I've called it Howard's Theme, named after Neal Howard. Just my homage to that record. It's similar in its approach. It's got no pianos in there like the Howard version has, but it's got this arpeggiated sort of riff in there that's, you know, that's similar to what he did. So anyway, this is my homage to that. Now, if I'd released this record in, let's say, the year 2000, 10 years after the original Bleep era had passed, it would have done nothing. It would not have done a single thing, perhaps, because it was too late for that genre at the time. But since then, 25 years later, everything's been revived and everything's had some kind of community built around every sort of genre. There are people that weren't even born when those genres were being originally made who are now keeping those alive, like kids making drum and bass from the 90s that were only born 15, 20 years ago, you know. So this kind of music now can do okay. It can do anything you want. So with your music, say you've made a track that sounds like a 90s house record, release it because there is an audience for that still, and there's an audience that's new as well. If you make old school electro, you know, there's an audience for that still. Whereas 10, 20 years ago, there might not have been, or let's say 25 years ago, there might not have been because that sound had become dated at the time. It hadn't had chance to mature and become vintage. So everything has been done now, as I say. So we don't have to waste any more time sitting on music that, you know, you're not going to release, because just release it because you have nothing to lose and you'll have everything to gain. And so that's what I'm going to do with this record. So I'm going to show you how I made it anyway, after all that blah blah. So this is how I made this record. I'll show you all the sounds, all the synths, all the licks and all that. And I'll show you that you can do this kind of bleep techno too as well. So let's crack on with it. Okay, so as you can see, it is a track of 18 in total. The top one's a sidechain, so we don't claim that. In fact, it's 17 in total because that's an audio version of that. And it's just a bleepy, dreamlike techno record. So you get the idea. It's proper bleepy, it's quite uplifting, it's quite joyful, and it's a very simple track. All the drums are basically just 909s and whatever, you know, there's all, let's just get the drums up. It's just a very simple drum pattern. Straightforward 909 stuff. I think maybe the snare's not... Oh, that is a 909. So basically the bass, let's get to the bass. This is a very, very solid sub bass. Very simple sub bass. And then on top of that, I wanted to put a pad. So the pad that I got here, which is from the Z3TA. Now this is predominantly a hard dance trance sort of synth, but it's got some really cool signature sounds on there, and you know, some good staple sounds. This is called the Ultra Pad. Just that old school, it's almost like the soundtrack sound from the Roland keyboards of the 80s. And it's very, very lush. And then I wanted the lead line. This is the main hook of the track. Again, this is from the Z3TA, and this is a sound called the Timeless Pluck. And if I put an arpeggio on, as you can see down here, look, classic up down eighth. That's all it is. But then if you just jump through the keys, absolutely bang on. Put some delay on it, and away you go. The next sound is called it's from the Ragnarok synth. This is a free VST called the Ragnarok, and it's called a Vollenweider sound, which is let me get this thing up. This is like a blippy sort of, very old school sort of, just simple notes. And then when it gets to this point, it gets with the pads and the lead. So you get that. Then you get the classic M1 rave pad. That's just sample. Came out years and years ago, that did. And then, again, the Ragnarok on the lead line down here. I took it to audio for some reason. It must have been a CPU version or reason. But there's the MIDI, and then I did it this down here. I did it with the audio. So it's, again, from the Ragnarok. Just bleepy sort of sounds on top of the pads. So that was that, and then there's the Blip ARP, which is, let me look at this one. This comes from the Tau Noisemaker. This is again a free VST, and it's that. This is the original version. It's been updated since from the Tau website, and the interface is different now. But that's a sound called the Pulse Train, and this is just a simple little sound. Let's play it. So let's go here. Just find it there. There. That's all that is. Put that on with the pads. Sub bass. And then the Angel Choir, which is again from the Locomotive Free VST. But I took it to audio for some reason. If you notice, there's a bit of distortion in there as well, which is kind of adds to the aesthetic of it. And then last but not least, we have the last pad here, which again is from, this is from the Cobalt. And this is a Windows only VST. And it's just a simple warm pad. It's not even, you know, let's get down here and let's have a look at it. Just a simple pad. There's nothing clever about it at all. And there you go. So we have those core element sounds. Build up. So there you go. That's how I made a track 6 years ago, and it's took me half a decade to release. So don't sit on your old music, release it, put it out, because every genre has been done now. There's no such thing as anything being outdated anymore, because there's an audience for every kind of genre on the internet now. You know, everyone's got their own little communities and so forth. So there you go. There's a little Detroit sort of bleepy sort of Sheffield vibe track that I made 6 years ago, inspired by a track from 36 years ago, and is now coming out in 2026. So don't sit on your music is all I'm saying. Get in touch with me if you need any advice, any tips, any help. Call me. I'm available at waxadist.com. Thank you and see you soon.